warmly welcome you, not only as a speaker, but as a participant, because you joined more than an hour ago. So thanks for being here, so you know a bit better what we do and hopefully why we do it. And again, short presentation. I met Patricia virtually because she's part of the Global Shapers community in the Philippines, and really like the work that she was doing. She kindly accepted to talk to us, and I'll just give you the word to explain a bit more about how you perceive wisdom and how this group here could become wiser faster in the future. So welcome to Patricia.
So hi everyone, I'll be sharing my screen because I think, you know, every youth today, they're very visual. So for a while, there. So, oh wait. Okay. For a while. Can you guys see my screen already?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so hi everyone. My name is Patricia Loren and I'm from the Philippines. So I'd like to thank Neway.org and Marcelo for really inviting me for today's talk. And the title of my talk is really about there is beauty and wisdom in waiting. So first of all, I'd like to introduce myself again. So I'm a social entrepreneur based in the Philippines. I'm actually handling a company named Phresko. It's a social enterprise that actually offers naturally grown products and organic products directly sourced from our local farmers in Mindanao. So I'm also a WEF Global Shaper from the Cebu Hub. And more about Phresko is that we're actually, from my dogs here. So more about Phresko is that we're giving turmeric, moringa, more on teas, and we're helping farmers in Mindanao. So we've helped more than 50 farming communities already. So we are also giving them source of livelihood and also helping them increase their income. And also I've been part of the Cebu Hub Global Shapers. Last year, I was nominated and I was also the project's head for it. And also, before I begin, I'd like to really hope that everybody's doing well despite this pandemic. It's been a series of waiting, when will this be over, and everything else. So to start off, I'd like to ask, who will I ask? I'd like to ask you, Surya, who here hates waiting? You can raise your hand or like a virtual thumbs up. Who here hates waiting? Especially if it's something that you guys really like. Yeah, I mean, even me, I hate waiting, especially if it's long lines or long queues. It's something that really pisses me off. But to share to you my story, I'd like to say that everything in my life has been really a constant waiting of God's will in my life. And everything I am or I have is all because of God's grace. And that's for my story. And that's why, as young as you are, I really want you guys to see that there is beauty and wisdom in waiting. Because first of all, waiting teaches you humility. And just to share to you guys, back when I was in grade school, I was very impatient. I mean, even up until now, I still have struggles of being very impatient. But when I was in grade school, I joined all the sports in our school. So I shifted from one sport, so from badminton to swimming to soccer, because if I didn't excel in one sport, I just quit and find another one. And then I really wanted things to be my own way without even waiting. But then later on, it made me see that one of the reasons why I wasn't really excelling in a certain sport is that I didn't have the patience. I didn't wait to see progress. I didn't actually I have the patience to undergo training and focus on a certain thing. So that's why it's very important to wait, because I didn't also see, and we should all understand that even small progress is still considered progress. So that is something that I really want you guys to learn, because that's how I learned it before when I was in grade school, and I'm even connecting it to my small decisions way back then. So another question is, who here wants to be successful? So you can do a virtual thumbs up or anything. So there. So I mean, everyone, all of us, we all want to be successful, right? But in our life, for example, for me, my high school, college, and after college, we all have different phases in our life that is being used to train us and to equip us, to prepare us to where we want to be in the future, and also to prepare us to where God wants us to be in the future. So to show you, here are the different stages in my life, and these are the things that I learned way back then. So when I was in high school, I was varsity in swimming and softball, so I was a bit of a sporty person. But when this actually was hard since I had to balance my sports and my academics, but it taught me two things. First is time management and perseverance. Because remember, I mean, we all have our competitive side, right? But as an athlete, it's really different when you persevere, especially in your trainings and in everything else. So I had to balance those things. So moving forward, when I was in college, I actually took up BS entrepreneurship. So a requirement for us to graduate was to start our own business. So we actually started a business selling goat's milk. So if you all are familiar with goat's milk, it's very different to the usual milk that we're drinking. So we have a new market. It was very hard for all of us. So I was with six of my friends, and actually what made it hard was our sales. I mean, our grades depended on our sales. So it was something that we had to juggle, academics and running a business. We also had to hire people. We gave them salaries and everything else. So the things that I actually learned during college is, first, you really have to value your people, because they're actually one of the most important aspects in having relationships, in doing business, and everything else. Second is time management. So when you're balancing things, you have to set your priorities right, and also balance and use your time wisely. Third is how to be strategic in everything you do, and that comes with being street smart. So like what Solange mentioned a while ago, being street smart is really important. It's not something that you learn in school, but it's something that you can really apply to wherever you are. And next is, you have to work under pressure. So even if you're stressed, you need to learn how to work under pressure. And lastly is the value of teamwork. So that is where you see that everybody, or the people that you're working with, it's very important that you have a good relationship with them, because remember, there's like a quote that what makes the dream work, teamwork. So I believe that everyone has something to share to a project or anything else. So next stage in my life was when I was after college. So I graduated college. I went straight up to corporate life. So I actually was working for around 4 years in the sales industry before I started my own business. So after college, what I learned is that there will always be people better than you. So we should always think that, oh, someone is better in this way. I mean, I'm not saying this in a bad way, but in a good way, wherein you will see that you can learn from this person. We always have to humble ourselves, and like what the other speaker was mentioning, that when you ask for help, you should also be open to actually receiving help. So it's a two-way relationship with the person. So it's always better to learn from one another and also to share best practices. And then the next stage of my life is when I started the business. So I opened Phresko 2 years ago, and it was really challenging because this is where I was really humbled by God. When you start a business, honestly, I got jealous of my friends for having stable jobs, having good pay. I felt very insecure, and fear really came into me. And that's where things, it was been roller coaster ride. I have been waiting, when will the business be better? But then you really have to understand that there is beauty again in waiting. So what did I learn when I started my business? So what I've mentioned is there's beauty and wisdom in waiting. And also, you guys, you have to remember, as young as you are, you should never despise small beginnings, because this is where it starts. So you may have a great idea and you can't do it in a bigger scale. You can do small things but with a greater impact. So you should never despise small beginnings. Next is, there's nothing wrong with being last. I mean, there are other times in competitions wherein you really have to win, but in life, there's nothing wrong with being last, because sometimes it's just not our time yet. And then that's why we get jealous of people, like, why are they excelling this? I mean, it's their time, but we all have our time. And that's why this is actually being, the waiting season is actually being used so that we can be trained and equipped to be ready for our time. So that's, I mean, some people ask me like, so should you just wait the whole time and do nothing? My answer is no, because even if you're waiting, you also have to be trained. I mean, you do things to improve yourself. Like, for example, in this pandemic right now, businesses have been closing. It's not the same anymore. But then, you know, it's there's access to online scale training and other things wherein you can improve yourself and just really equip yourself for when things will be back again. You will be prepared. And also, being a leader, you must be the last. It doesn't mean when you're the leader, you're there in front. But being a leader for me is when you step back and make sure that your flock is doing well, and make sure that they improve with you, because that's being the essence of the leader, is making sure that everyone is improving together. And next is just to share like about being in the global shapers community. It's a very big community, and this is what I have learned also, is surround yourself with people better than you. So in our hub, we have businessmen for how many years already, and very established people. And it's good to be around them because they share best practices. And it really humbles you knowing that, yeah, this is something that I could improve with. And we never know, even if they're better than you, you also have things that you can impart to them, because, you know, we all are not perfect, and we can actually learn from one another. And next is treat everyone equally, rich or poor. So that's another thing. And for me also is, when you do a business, have like a purpose of, why should I be doing my business? So when I started Phresko, mine was really to do business with a mission. So I saw that the farmers in the Philippines were really neglected. If you think about it, these farmers are the people that allows us to have food in our table. Without the farmers, well, we have nothing to eat. And they are actually not paid well. They're even starving, even if they're, some of them are even farmers. So that's wherein the thought came in, that it's so good to have a business wherein it really impacts lives, and the fulfillment is just really different. So I believe that we are blessed to bless others. And also, always remember that when you do things, as young as you are, don't let money be your motivator in doing things. Yes, when you start a business, you think about it's gonna give you a better life. You get more income when you start a business, but no, it's a roller coaster ride. So you get money, you lose money, but then the good thing is, if your motivator is something else, let's say your motivator for me is really just helping the farmers. Um, my business may go up or down. I know the farmers are there, but then what happens when money is gone? What will be your motivator? So you should always see that money is not something that you should really be your motivator in these stuff, because money just follows when you do your hard work, when you persevere, and everything else. So next is, always remember that waiting, taking a break, stepping down, and being last is something you shouldn't be afraid of. Because I was the type when I was young, I was really scared to fail. So if I could just go back to that time, I would really tell myself, just don't be scared to fail. I was very I didn't really do this, I didn't do that, because I I was really scared to fail. I was scared what would people think and everything else. But then we should always remember that failure teaches us. And taking a break, stepping down is something that is really normal. I mean, in our life, it's not always like being on top. There should be times that when we are down, it's where it molds us. And also, you have to trust in his timing because, you know, we all want to do things right away, but then it's just never our time. We all have our time. And lastly, to close my talk, I know I've been really talking fast, but yes, experience is a good teacher, but age is not a measurement of maturity and your capabilities. So I really encourage everyone that don't be scared just because you're young, you can't do things. But you know yourself, you know the gifts that you have, and use it to contribute to have a better world. So that's all. If you have any questions, I'm very open to answering it. Thank you.
Thanks, Patricia. Any questions? Otherwise, Patricia can pick some of the victims. You already know all of them. So do you have any questions to the audience about your work?
How about Suli? I'd like to, do you have any question in mind, or like you want me just to be the one to ask you something?
I was actually thinking about you asking for help for your work from them so they can be your consultants.
Oh, okay. So I'd like, first of all, like as young as you are, I'd like to ask you what for you guys, what would be like what I've mentioned a while ago, like never despise small beginnings. What are the small things that you guys have been doing that you think could really impact in the bigger level, but people are not appreciating? And what are these things that you can also see that there's impact, but then other people just don't really see it? So what are those things? Especially like for me, I'm helping farmers in Mindanao. Some people don't see it because I don't really like broadcast it and anything. But then it's these small things. But then how, like as young as you are in your generation, and I know you're the future, how can you help me and really just upscale it in your own perspective in helping these farmers?
Maybe
So
Sanyan can help with smoothies because he's selling smoothies and you have smoothie materials. So Sanyan here?
Yes.
Oh, I thought you were making smoothies, smashing bananas. So how could you help farmers in Mindanao with their production with your smoothie initiative?
Probably help with the demand of fruits.
And how would you do that? Because you need to get the fruits from the Philippines to Singapore. So who else do you need to help you with the trade and import-export business?
For a smoothie company, we're not a company, but let's say Boost, maybe Boost can open chains in Philippines, and then create a demand and use the supply to supply the chain, supply the retails and sell smoothies in Philippines.
yeah.
Or you could have a giant banana boat bringing some fruits from the Philippines